And now it's time for a couple of things that are on my mind, and this is week 105 of me doing this as a full-time occupation. We're now into year 3 here, and everything continues to go well. And I wanted to take a step back, though, and talk about the Lemmings for a minute. This is a game that I played quite a bit on my DOS PC back in the 90s. I know this was also on the Amiga, which I think was probably the best version out there, and it made it to just about every console at the time. And this game was kind of a puzzle game that was very unique in that you had all these little dudes called Lemmings. This is the holiday edition I captured here, who have to walk across a play field, and they're kind of dumb. They just walk and walk and walk until they fall off the edge of something or hit an obstacle or something like that. And one of the cool things about the game was that you had the power to give skills to specific lemmings to have them burrow through an obstacle like you see here, or you could, of course, blow them all up and start over again if you want, and a number of other things as well. And it was a really fun game that hasn't been remade, at least not until recently, in the modern era. So the other day I was on my app store getting some apps updated, and I noticed this little thing for Lemmings, and I said, oh, this is cool, a remake of a game that I was quite fond of. And I downloaded the game, and my first impression was pretty good. One of the things that I like about a lot of these modern remakes is that they're making the gameplay more efficient. One of the issues that I had with the original Lemmings is that they would often get themselves bunched up, and it was hard to assign a specific skill to a lemming walking in the right direction, for example. This one allows you to assign the skills by selecting a grid point on the map, and the first lemming that walks through that grid point will get that skill. So for example, we're going to start digging through that block there, and you can see that first lemming that reached the block started digging, and everything went a little bit smoother. And the game was still challenging in that you had to figure out how to get them from one point to the other, but there was a little less frustration in the course of that. Because I often felt that that bunching of lemmings and the fact that you would misassign the skill was kind of a defect of game design as opposed to adding to the challenge. And here you can see that first lemming that walked by that stairwell thing is now building the stairs to the exit. And all in, it was a pretty fun experience until I dug in a bit more to this game. So I wanted to see if you could just go out and buy the game outright, because the way they have this game structured is that there's an energy meter at the top of the screen, and every time a lemming gets assigned a skill, that energy meter declines by 1. You can see what it looks like here. And even if you successfully complete a level, the energy will continue to decline the more you play. So what will end up happening is you'll hit the end of your energy, you won't be able to play through a level anymore, and then if you take a break from the game for a couple of hours, your energy will slowly return. It's a common tactic on these free-to-play games to get you to pay something to enjoy the game for longer periods of time. Super Mario Run is a great example of that, where you can play the game a little bit and get a feel for it, and if you like it, you pay, what, $7 or $8, and you've got full access to the game moving forward, and you can easily progress through. So this was a big change from the original Lemmings in that on the DOS version here, you would have a limited number of skills you could assign per level. But once you got through the level, those skills would then reset or renumber themselves based on how the developers of the game structured the level. And many times these skills were basically limited to just what you needed to get through everything. So a very big difference in dynamics there. And I thought, okay, well, I could probably just buy the game and have it work like the old one, right? No. So if you want to play without limits, in other words, play without having to take a break for a while and let that energy build back up again, you can buy unlimited energy. And I said, okay, $7 isn't so unreasonable, until I looked here and it was only for 2 hours. So you can play for 2 hours for $7 and then it reverts back to the free-to-play model. What a ripoff, right? And then it gets even crazier. They've got like this starter bundle in there where you can apparently buy skills that won't eat into your energy level here. So you could have unlimited stair climbs, for example, ×5 in a level. And then after that, they go away. And then they say it's 85% off. 85% off of what? And then they even go further and say there's only one in stock. So out of the thousands of people that are playing this game, there's only one available, and you got to act now to get it. They are just using every scam in the book to get people to spend money on this stuff. And I don't have the statistics in front of me, but I am willing to bet you that many games like this work on a psychological formula that gets a lot of people to pay a lot of money to play these free-to-play games. And I get it. If you're trying to have ongoing development, you need ongoing revenue, but 2 hours for $7 for a stupid mobile game? I mean, that's even more than what I used to spend at the bowling alley arcade when I was a kid. It's ridiculous. And this is just a complete desecration of the original game, and it's unfortunate that I think Sony, who holds this license, was willing to let this developer do this to a great game, even a game that I think has been reimagined in a really nice way for mobile here. They completely destroyed it, and I'm not giving them a dime, of course, but it's just sad that such a great game that I enjoyed hasn't really been remade properly, and when we finally get something like it, this garbage is what we get. And unfortunately, this is the scope of the mobile game development right now. So this speaks to really how the mobile game market has evolved differently than PCs and consoles have. Now, granted, there are attempts on PCs and consoles to do all this crappy in-app purchase stuff, but there's more pushback from consumers, and developers have been more apt to listen to that pushback. On mobile, it's a completely different thing, but there are examples of games like Super Mario Run here that I mentioned before that are completely playable after you spend a couple of bucks to get the game purchased. Essentially, you never have to pay anything again. In this game, I have never ever felt like I needed to buy anything to get more from the game after my initial purchase here, and I've really enjoyed it quite a bit. So altogether, I'm just not happy with this Lemmings thing, nor am I happy with how mobile games have evolved at all.
This channel is brought to you by the Lon.TV supporters, including gold level supporters Chris Allegretta, the Four Guys with Quarters podcast, Tom Albrecht, and Kalyan Kumar. If you want to help the channel, you can by contributing as little as $1 a month. Head over to lon.tv/support to learn more. And don't forget to subscribe. Visit lon.tv/s.